Introduction. Orman-lux is a partition of skeleton type on aluminum shape. The width of partition is 68 mm at all. The maximum width of raised constructions is up to 4 meters. As sections and filling, they can be used glass, plasterboard and other materials similar in basic parameters, thickness and weight. For instance, laminated chipboard, plexiglass, polycarbonate, plastic and others. For installation of partition Orman-lux, the following tools are required. Cut-off saw, necessary for dimensional chasing of aluminum shape, a special attention to be paid on a disc grind. For aluminum, the cutting angle should be minus. Perforating machine, aimed to internal drilling in floor, walls and ceiling. Screw gun, intended for hole making and twisting in of self-tappers. Tape measure. In the course of measurements and indexing on a profile, it is necessary to use a tape measure with movable stop, which allows to employ tape measure both for internal and external dimensions. A fixation of movable stop while tape measures usage is inadmissible. It leads to error in measurements from 0.5 to 1.5 mm, depending on thickness of a stop. We advise you to use a well-tried tape measure, which will permit you to minimize the errors of measurements. Plane laser system, devoted to definition of stands and cross beams position relative to horizon. As an alternative to plane laser system, a plummet and water level can be applied. Other useful tools: hacksaw, slicer, sucking cups, rubber mallet, cut-off cord, step ladder, cell of drills, marker. Partitions assembling begins with layout on the floor and walls. A correspondence of plan to a premises dimensions is checking. A layout on the floor is making as consistent with dimensions indicated in the plan. The layout is performed with the help of a marker and a constructional code with coloring matter. The layout on the wall is carried out with the help of a plane laser system or a plummet. The works start from the place of partitions fastening to the wall. A wall holder is used as a fastening tool to walls, floor and ceiling. In line with partition's height is measured the length of a profile. A profile of necessary side is cut off on a cut-off machine. The apertures for fired pin are made in a shape. The profile is applied to the wall and fixed by means of fired pins and other fittings depending on wall material. Hereafter, a horizontal guide detail is installing and is fastening by self-tappers to a vertical stay with the help of a seat angle. Then it is being fastened to the floor. A horizontal guide detail is fastened to a ceiling by the same way. The layout for horizontal crossbars is performed through the use of laser level. In case of its absence, you can use a water level. A stay Orman-lux is used as horizontal crossbars. The crossbars fasten to vertical stays by means of seat angles. By means of clamping angle bars, which are included into delivery set, a door frame is being assembled. At intervals of 30 centimeters, the door frame is fastened to the vertical stay by self-tappers. Thereby, it is necessary to check the leveling of upper profile of a door frame and the width of doorway. It should be equal along the door height. On the top horizontal area of the door frame, a crossbar is placed and fastened to it by self-tappers, while to the lateral stays it is fastened by seat angles. The hinges are settled into a gain of the door frame and the door leaf. The door leaf is set in the door frame. Next, a lock, blinds control handle, strike, packing and decorative insertion piece are installed. At the beginning, an aperture for stained glass rack is measured. In accordance with its size, we cut the rack. Further, the rack is set in a profile. An installation sequence is as follows. Initially, the horizontal racks are set in, and then the vertical ones. Packing for glass is placed to the gains of racks without restraint. The glasses are set into the apertures. The glasses' dimensions should be 3–4 mm smaller than the aperture's height and width. The measurements are carried out upon stop lag of stays. Then on both sides of a partition we install the covering planks. While in filling of dumb sections of partitions, the panels of dumb and filling are cut off up to a needed size and placed into the apertures formed by stays of a skeleton. In case of necessity for the purpose of soundproofing increase, we can put mineral wool between the panels. Finally, the covering planks cut within the size are installed on both sides of the partition. After fastening of an angle stay to horizontal lintels for further installation of any infilling, it is necessary to set up a transition joint on an angle stay. It is acceptable to clamp a profile of the transition joint by fragments not less than 100 mm in length and pitch no more than 500 mm. The installation of blinds is performed as follows. Upon completion of skeleton assembling in the stay ribs, the holes are cut for the purpose of separation of flexible control cable of blinds. In the stained glass rack, a hole for cable is drilled. The cable is passing through this hole and gain in the stay. The rack is clamping on the rack. The cornice of blinds fastens to the upper plank of a facing profile. After that, we install the glass seals, which are fixed by fragments of the covering plank. The flexible cable is building up with joining sleeve. In the covering plank we drill a hole opposite to the gain for flexible control cable. By way of two self-tappers, a collar is set in the plank. Through the hole of a collar we pass the tag end of cable and insert into a handle against the stop. The handle with cable are turned into a collar. The tag end of flexible cable is clamped by a lock screw. The plank with handle clamps on a stay. So the double glazed section and blinds are assembled.